Angry Bears Fan Podcast, episode 138. We are a week removed from the Bears being eliminated. The two championship games got played. The Super Bowl winners have been set, or the Super Bowl matchup has been set. Um, and yeah, a couple coaches got hired. Bill Belichick got snubbed for the Hall of Fame. So a couple things went on.
Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot of, there's not a game, a Bears game to dissect this week, unfortunately. There should have been, but there isn't. Um, there is some news, regarding Bears directly. We'll start at the top. You know what I'm saying? We'll start at the top and we'll kind of go down the list in terms of Bears news. Declan Doyle. He had his a couple of interviews. I know Baltimore recently had put in a slip to talk to him to interview for their offensive coordinator position, but he did rescind his name for consideration for the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator job. So it's either going to be Baltimore so he can call his plays, or he's going to stay in Chicago. I think he stays in Chicago at least for one more year. I think he's going to have some head coaching interviews next coaching cycle, especially if the Bears offense continues to trend in an upward direction. I really feel like, you're going to start seeing a lot of these guys come off the Ben Johnson tree. It's one of the first guys offensively that will be hired will be Declan Doyle.
For sure.
He
Probably
seems
lose
to
Randall L at some point as well.
Yeah, he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. You know what I'm saying? He's got he's really deep on the preparation with Caleb, and he's kind of hands on with the offense and everything else like that. He doesn't call plays, obviously Ben Johnson does, but I think he'd be a good hire for really. I think he'd be a good hire for Baltimore if Baltimore wants to give him the job and allow him to call plays. I think that would be pretty decent. The one coach that did get hired away, Eric Bieniemy, becomes the new new old offensive coordinator for
Yeah.
the Kansas City Chiefs. They were saying, I guess Andy Reid was talking about, Matt Nagy had approached him before the season and said that he wasn't going to renew his contract, that he was going to pursue head coaching jobs or a different offensive coordinator gig where he can call his own plays. And Andy Reid said, hey, I understand you want to run your own show, blah 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 blah. That may have bit Matt Nagy in the ass because the Tennessee job went to Robert Saleh. Um, that was like the number one gig for him was gonna be the Tennessee Titans. So it doesn't look like he will be getting a head coaching job unless he's gonna get Cleveland, Arizona, or Las Vegas. But I guess Arizona's leaning towards the offensive coordinator for the Rams as well as Raheem Morris. And
Raheem Morris? Like, what is
Yeah,
going
or no, Vance Joseph.
Well, I
Sorry,
was
the
gonna say,
defensive
that
coordinator.
was gonna
Yeah,
really
Vance
throw a
Joseph.
monkey wrench in the
Um,
racist claims people were making. If Raheem
um,
Morris got another fucking job.
and I have no idea what Cleveland's doing. Every top head coaching candidate has pulled their name out of consideration for Cleveland because Cleveland's making them take tests like they're in fucking high school, write essays and shit. That's why Cleveland is a fucking piss poor bottom of the barrel organization, and nobody wants to be the fucking head coach there, especially when you got Shadur Sanders as your quarterback and you're still paying Deshaun Watson $60 million to molest massage therapists and constantly injured. Um, but I mean, I don't know, man. Some of that shit's just fucking crazy.
Well, I just figured the Browns were waiting for somebody who's in the Super Bowl. I mean, well, I guess it won't be Josh McDaniels. He's not going anywhere. So maybe whoever the offensive coordinator is for the Seahawks, they're waiting to talk
Clint
to.
Kubiak.
Yeah, like I don't know. Who would want to go to the Browns? Like you said, I mean, I I was feeling better about Sugar, but then I saw his end of the year stats and he's just awful. So yeah, I guess they're stuck with him. Like, what are you gonna? This is a bad quarterback draft. I don't. There's a few guys who you know what I mean are going to be looking for a change of scenery. Cleveland Browns are the best place to go to revitalize a career, I imagine. But at least there'll be an opportunity to start. Like, so if I'm Kyler Murray, maybe somebody like that, throw your hat in the ring, figure something out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Joe Brady got hired today. That was weird.
Yeah, that was very weird. Like I don't understand that.
I'm guessing
I don't.
they couldn't get anybody and they were tired of looking. and the owner put his foot in his mouth at that press conference, so he probably had to go with somebody he has familiarity with. I don't think after seeing him throw those guys on the bus and just lie too in that press conference, I don't think any like serious head coach wanted to go there. Mike McCarthy to the Steelers. Um,
Running it back with Aaron Rodgers.
I don't hate that. I got in an argument with somebody today about that because they were like, again, doing the whole racist thing like Mike Tomlin. They got rid of Tomlin and hired McCarthy's worse. I'm like, oh, let's pump the brakes about being like maybe slightly like they're very similar. Like, and I already
They,
went on my
they, they're the same person. They're
yeah.
the same person. They got the exact same record, same postseason record. You know what I'm saying? They both got one Super Bowl. But let's not forget something. Pittsburgh didn't throw away Mike Tomlin. Pittsburgh expected Mike Tomlin to come back to coach the team next year. Mike Tomlin went into the Pittsburgh Steelers owners, office and was like, "I'm done. I need a break."
And that's what I said too. Like people want to make it seem like it was like they kind of made him do it, but I'm like, I don't know. Mike Tomlin doesn't seem like the type of guy you make do anything. So
No,
I just take him at his word, and he said he was done. In my opinion, it seemed like he was doing the Steelers a favor because he steps down when he does feel like he wants to come back. They're going to get a first round draft pick for him. And then he's going to get this pick to go wherever he wants. It seems like a win-win for everybody. He's going to get to go work at Fox for a year or two and get really paid. So I thought it was a good thing. Good thing. I don't know what they're doing in Pittsburgh as much as I was just defending Mike McCarthy. I know they usually go with a young guy. I feel like I know they don't want to be bad and they've got expectations, but I felt like this is a rebuild. I think they should have took a young guy and did a rebuild, just one rebuild year. But with Mike McCarthy, you're kind of setting your standards a certain way. It's kind of like the Pete Carroll signing, where it's like this guy's old. Like, How long is he gonna be the fucking coach? Like,
well, that's the thing is that, Pittsburgh doesn't do A to B coaches, and that's
yeah,
exactly what Mike McCarthy is. He's 62 years old right now, and it for over the last Pittsburgh's had three head coaches in the history of their franchise. It was Chuck Noll, then um, uh,
Bill
Bill
Cowher,
Cowher, and then
Mike
Mike
Tomlin.
Tomlin. They usually go with a young defensive coordinator who just grows into the position and is there for 20 years. And they didn't do that this time. They went Mike McCarthy. They went with the veteran. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It's something different. Maybe, I mean, they're gonna be good enough to win 9 games, but they're gonna be stuck in the playoffs again. Maybe they win one game. Maybe they don't. Maybe they get bounced and they're not going to be bad enough to do a complete rebuild and start over with another quarterback. I mean, like you said, this year realistically isn't the year to get a quarterback anyway. And if
Yeah,
they get draft,
yeah.
compensation for Mike Tomlin, they can go get a quarterback next year.
That's what I was
Um,
figuring. It's like you tank this year, get somebody young, somebody you like. Maybe it wasn't somebody in your staff, but you go find some young guy you like. Tell them, hey, this year's a throwaway year. Do your best, build your staff up. What I mean, we'll try Will Howard out. Maybe he can go. And we'll trade PJ Watt. What I mean, I think Hayward's retiring, I believe. Um, and we'll go from there. I don't really see what the Steelers are doing. Again, I like Mike McCarthy a lot. Not, I don't like the slander of coaches where it's like there's so many bad ones to kind of talk trash about Mike McCarthy. I know he's got even Tomlin's got this. You know what I mean? Oh, they make the playoffs and then lose. Well, that's a lot better than like every fucking coach ever. Like there's like maybe 20 guys, 15 that you could seriously say that are maybe better than Tomlin, 10 that you could just say flat out, there's no argument. These guys are better than him. Like,
well,
so,
and that and the Mike McCarthy, to Pittsburgh, it could have a direct effect on the Chicago Bears coaching staff moving forward because Al Harris, while he did interview, with the Packers, as well as the Commanders, the Packers ended up hiring Jonathan Gannon, Matt Eberflus 2.0. And he likes to. The only difference is he likes to beat his players whenever they fuck up. And then the Commanders hired Durante Jones. He did interview with the Titans for their defensive coordinator position on Saturday. But he's also been linked heavily to the Pittsburgh job because Mike McCarthy brought him in, and he started with Mike McCarthy in Dallas. And now with Mike McCarthy taking over in Pittsburgh, there's a very good possibility that Al Harris can interview for that Pittsburgh job and end up getting that Pittsburgh defensive coordinator position to continue his relationship with Mike McCarthy. How would you feel about that?
I would like that for him at least because he'd go away and to build on your point, what you just said too, be smart for him because Mike McCarthy ain't gonna be there for long. Pittsburgh likes to hire defensive guys, and you know what I mean. You get your foot in the door. You're the DC there for 3 years, 2 years, and Mike McCarthy says, "I'm done." Maybe you know what I mean. No better job to fucking get than the Pittsburgh Steelers job, and really all the sports they put all the trust in you, and unless you're a terrible human being, they ride with you. So yeah, I mean, I would like that for him. I obviously didn't want to see him to go to the Packers just because of the bad blood and practicing with somebody for a whole year. You learn a lot of stuff about them. He's, you know, what I mean, he's sitting in on meetings. They're sitting. So there's just things where that I don't want. I don't want to be a hater, but I really was glad to see him not go there. I wanted these guys. You know, what I mean, I'm sure it's his dream to be a DC and a head coach, but after the year we just had and seeing him go to the Packers would have sucked. Declan Doyle, I don't know. It's tough with those guys. He's kind of being that Nagy role where it's like, no matter how good we do, the success is always going to go to Ben. So I understand why Nagy had to get up out of there. I mean, even if it didn't work and he didn't get a head coaching job, he can go get an OC job somewhere else. That's the only way he's going to be able to get his hat back in the ring anyway.
I mean, he could go to Buffalo and be the offensive
well, because
coordinator.
Daboll's in the Titans, right? Daboll went to the Titans.
Yeah. So, you know, Robert Saleh's quietly building a pretty good staff over there.
That is a really good staff.
If he can land Al Harris over there as his defensive coordinator. Now, Robert Saleh obviously will call the defensive plays, I think, maybe. But having Daboll and Al Harris as your coordinators, you know, it's a pretty good job to have. In terms of, you know, being a head coach, you got a young player in Cam Ward that is we don't know what he is yet. He showed some signs you know, of good quarterback play you know, this year for the Titans, but he's still got a lot of growing to do.
They don't have any talent either. They don't have a running back.
They don't. They have absolutely none.
Like, they don't have a tight end, so it'll be exciting.
Speaking of talent, Ian Cunningham is one of two finalists for the Atlanta Falcons vacant GM position. Now, verbiage does dictate that if Ian Cunningham does get the job, while technically he would be the general manager, he would not be the head decision maker. Therefore, the Bears would not receive two compensatory picks for the Atlanta Falcons hiring him. Now, the Bears can appeal this to the NFL, which I'm assuming they will. But let's just say, first and foremost, Ian Cunningham does get the job. The Bears don't receive two comp picks. Is it fair to say that that's bullshit?
How does that even work? Like, I don't like the verb. Like, is he the GM or not? Like, who? It's not the OC.
So Matt Ryan technically is like the VP of football operations. So Tennessee kind of operates the same way. A lot of teams are starting to move to this model, and Tennessee is the most recent one to do it besides the Falcons now, is that Matt Ryan's like the president. He makes the football decisions, and then the GM is technically what Ian Cunningham is now, which is just an assistant GM. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a certain level of hierarchy, and Matt Ryan would technically be the final decision maker.
Well, I mean, I understand it in theory, but it's like, is he the GM or not? Like,
in title, yes, he is the general manager.
And I imagine in the rules for whatever that's going on, it says if he gets a GM job. I'm sure it doesn't say if he gets a decision maker job, because
it says the verbiage says if he gets a promotion. That's it, just a promotion. Now, a promotion from being an assistant GM that isn't a final decision maker to a general manager that's not a final decision maker, in the laws of the NFL, that is a lateral move. That is not a promotion, therefore it does not.
Well, I guess we'll get then they will appeal it, because this seems like a way to get around a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely, it does.
Well, I guess who's getting around it, because the Titans, like, we don't get anything from the Titans, so it's just a way.
From the Falcons, no, but I just think it's ludicrous in a way where, you know, you set all these rules up for minority coaches to get promotions, and you know what I'm saying, you give other teams incentives, because the Bears, Ryan Poles, if he really wanted to, he'd be like, he can block it. It's a lateral move. So technically he can block that move and be like, hey, sorry, Ian, like I'm not letting you go because we're not getting anything in return for letting you. Why would I let you go and not be a decision maker somewhere else when you can still stay here, help us still build? And like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no,
Like
I mean that
I
makes
don't
sense.
think
I
he
mean,
would. I don't think Ryan Poles would
no.
do that, but he could in theory.
Well, I mean, well, of course Cunningham wants to go there because it'll say Matt Ryan's the final decision maker, but he's never done any of that stuff before anyway, so he's just going to be stamping
Well,
it.
what's
It's
fucked
like,
up is Matt Ryan in his press conference literally said, I'm not there. I'm not there to scout. I'm not there to, throw football. I'm not there to coach. I'm not there to, mess with the roster. He's like, I'm gonna let those people do their jobs. Those were Matt Ryan's own words when he was brought on to the Falcons to be the president of football operations, similar to what John Elway is for the Denver Broncos. And I don't fucking, he literally said those words. So how can the NFL turn around and say, oh no, it's a lateral move when Matt Ryan said, no, I'm going to give the power of the decisions to the decision makers. Like he's going to delegate that
well,
shit
I mean, if
out.
that's the case,
Like,
I didn't see his press conference, and I feel like then it wouldn't be a lateral move then if he's saying I'm going to let them do their job. So it's like, I don't know. We'll see. It'd be interesting. I would like. I mean, if I want to see everybody get promotions, like I said, I'm not a hater. I don't want to see you not shine. But if we're not going to get anything, and there's some like fugazi where we lose our guy and we don't get anything, that seems a little bit of bullshit.
absolutely. Well, we talked about Bill Belichick getting snubbed. How about a player that was snubbed, but then got a little bit of justice in that, and that is Nahshon Wright. Nahshon Wright was added to the Pro Bowl roster today. He's replacing Quinyon Mitchell, who dropped out of the Pro Bowl. So how about that for Nahshon Wright? I mean, he
Well,
led
that's
the
very
league.
good. I was a bit
He
good
led the
for him.
league in turnovers. He had 8 forced turnovers, 5 picks, 3 fumble recoveries. He was a practice squad player,
Exactly. That's what I
all of
would.
last year
Yeah.
for Minnesota. Comes here this year, and all of a sudden now he leads the league in turnovers, and he's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
So props up to Nahshon Wright.
Yeah. So I'm very
Let's
happy
hear
for
you
him.
talk about it.
Well, just like it's a good story for the guy because you know what I mean. He might never ever get to go again, and probably never thought he was going to go. Maybe not. And it's like he got, and then he's having this amazing season where it feels like it should be a slam dunk that he goes because he had, like I said, the guy gets burned every now and then, whatever, But he had so many turnovers and just big plays in big games, and like it just seemed like no brainer he gets in. There were 3 corners get in. And Mitchell, obviously, we know the guy's good and he's a lockdown corner, but he had no like he had like 1 interception. I don't know if he had any actually.
Well, that's
Um,
because teams didn't throw
well, I know
his
that, but
way.
still, who cares? That's
Nahshon Wright is what they call a chaos agent
yeah.
cornerback.
Well, it's
He's
like
a
Trevon Diggs when he made it.
That's
Trevon Diggs was and
exactly
he made it.
that's
He was almost
exactly what I was
MVP.
comparing it to was Trayvon Diggs. He's a
He was
high risk, high reward player that is going to jump right now. He falls for every single double move that it goes against him. That's got to get cleaned up. It's every single double move because he's very aggressive. He tries to jump every route. And like you said, he will get burned on occasion. He'll give up the big play. But once you're in the red zone, he's tall and lengthy. We've seen the plays that he makes in the red zone on jump balls. We saw the strip fumble that he,
spectacular.
just ripped the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands during the tush push attempt inside the red zone. He makes plays and he will get burnt and give up the big chunk play occasionally. But I think it's very well deserved. You know what I'm saying? He
Good for
definitely
him.
should have been a first alternate if he didn't make the Pro Bowl. I understood Mitchell getting the nod over him, but
I
it's
didn't.
nice to see recognition with Quinyon Mitchell dropping out, Nahshon Wright taking that. It's a lot better for that to happen than to say Drake May is going to the Super Bowl, therefore he's not going to go in the Pro Bowl, so we're going to throw Shadur Sanders in.
Well, I'm assuming all
And
those people turned it down. Is why, right?
Well, that what does that say about the NFL and the Pro Bowl? That literally you had to go down a list of how many quarter. Let me ask you this question real quick, Sean. Not to take anything away from Nahshon Wright, he very well deserved to be in the Pro Bowl. But how many people do you think the NFL called to replace Drake May in the Pro Bowl before they got to Shadur Sanders?
I mean, off the top of my head, I would say Trevor Lawrence, just Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. That's four. Ooh, AFC. Cam Ward. No, I don't think they. Man, I would say Cam Ward, but there's no way Cam Ward would have said no. I don't think Cam Ward would have said no. Do you? Do you think Cam Ward would have said no to a Pro Bowl
I
invite?
I don't I don't think so.
So
I
I'm
don't think
assuming
so.
they called Shador before him, which is crazy. I don't know. Maybe Cam Ward's hurt. I would have to see because I like that's just I don't know. They like the kid. I mean, he's football royalty. I think a lot of us all there's a contingent that don't want to see him do good because of the nepotism. But I think a lot of football fans at least wanted to see him do good. I know they're
I
going to sell
think
a
they
lot of
did it
jerseys.
for the I think they did it for the ratings, for the
Yeah,
eyes.
people like him, and I'm fine with that sense because, like I said, a lot of people just don't want to go. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. What have they been 5 times now? Like 4 or 5 times. I mean, I'm not in their situation. I feel like I'd always want to go.
Well, you got to understand there's contract implications too. Like the Pro Bowl may not be what it once was, but there's incentives for being selected to the Pro Bowl. So a lot of these guys who may or may not be more deserving of the Pro Bowl now than Shadur Sanders, they have money riding on it. So if they got passed over in favor of Shadur Sanders just because he'll bring more eyes to the Pro Bowl, which nobody fucking watches anyway, does that create a problem for guys that are trying to get paid for representing the Pro Bowl? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh,
Um,
C.J. Stroud. I mean,
yeah. I
okay.
mean, CJ Stroud.
Herbert. Is Herbert already won?
I don't know.
Jeez.
Don't know. No, I don't think so. Justin Herbert definitely should have been if that. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case. Like there's a lot of people that probably they could have turned it down, like you said. I don't know, but I would think that with contract incentives, everybody wants to get paid. Even if it's a $500,000 bonus for being selected to the Pro Bowl, that's still a $500,000 that they're getting on top of their
So do you get
contract.
it? Do you get it if you're selected? Like, is it alternate being selected? I'm sure
No,
there's
you
weird
you
verbiage.
you get it if if you're selected to the Pro Bowl or if you make it to the Pro Bowl, whatever the case may be. And then the winning team, players on the winning team of the stupid flag football shit get like $92,000, and the players on the losing team get $46,000, which to a guy like Nashawn Wright, who played for 1.1 this year, probably makes a big difference. But you know what I'm saying? Like I don't
Justin
know.
Herbert was already selected, so he's
It
on there.
just it's a lot. It's very
It was
the
weird. It
pro
was weird, and I don't.
the Pro
And
Bowl
it's just
fucking sucks now,
and
dude.
the
It's
NFL knows what they're doing. Like they knew how controversial it'd be. I feel like they want a little bit of the controversy. Um,
controversy creates cash.
yes, they love the debate. And people hating against them and wanting to see them do bad. So I like again, I'm not hating on it. I found it weird, and now thinking of it, like I'm guessing like maybe Trevor Lawrence turned it down. He's I mean he makes $55 million a year. Maybe he just wanted the off season off. He already lives in Jacksonville, Florida. Like, what I mean? He doesn't need to get over fucking Hawaii for some good weather. But yeah, Cam Ward doesn't make sense to me because there's no way a rookie says no going to the Pro Bowl. No way. So they asked Shador before Cam Ward, who started all 17 games and played better than him.
A
Um,
lot better.
so that what I would be the only one who like really doesn't make sense. Like Aaron Rodgers, he's old, he's been gone.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron Rodgers
I'm sure
really
the
gives a
NFL doesn't
fuck.
want him fucking there anyway. So that part, but yeah, I'm glad to see that Sean Wright got to go though because we talked about that. I thought it was a big snub. Regardless, I know you said you don't understand why Quinyon Mitchell went. I don't because it's not how good you are in theory. It's how good you are this fucking year. Like it's not our fault that fucking nobody throws at you. Like should Justin Jefferson go because he didn't have a good.
No, 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 stop. Because that's how Darrell Revis made his entire career. Because nobody threw the football his way
Well,
because
for
he
what?
was that good.
Yeah,
If Quinyon Mitchell is that good that nobody throws the ball towards him, he 100% deserves a Pro Bowl spot.
I don't
Let's
think I
back
don't.
that up a little bit.
Well, no. What I'm
Now
saying
you're
is,
saying that in your words, what you're saying then is that Darrell Revis didn't deserve Pro Bowl nods because
no.
nobody
I'm
threw his way.
saying a guy who's got 7 interceptions and multiple forced fumbles and recoveries deserves to get in over somebody who's a lockdown corner.
I disagree
That
100%. 100% disagree. That is asinine. That's crazy talk. You can't sit there and say that a player who is a
I'm not
lockdown
comparing
corner.
Quinyon Mitchell to Daryl Reeves. Like I don't think like I don't see that in him. Like so.
How? It's the same thing as Patrick Surtain and Derek Stingley. Nobody
Surtain's got a
throws
lot
their
of
way
interceptions. Those
because
guys
they're
got
that
interceptions.
good.
No, those guys. Patrick Surtain Jr.'s got interceptions.
Patrick Surtain's got interceptions because they play a lot of zone coverage too. It's not just man. Philly runs a lot of man defense. Quinyon Mitchell does not allow
I'm not
receptions
talking
because
bad about
nobody
Quinyon Mitchell.
throws the
I'm
ball that
saying
way.
stats over like you. We know you're the
I
fucking the prototype. Like I think.
But see, you can't really say that too because what happens then with a linebacker on a terrible defense that's got 167 tackles or whatever it
Well,
is?
that's the
You're
tackles. He
saying
got some
he's a
tackles.
better player? Hold on. You're saying he's a better player and deserves a Pro Bowl nod over a guy who's more talented on an elite defense? That's crazy.
I well,
That's
I won't
crazy.
say for sure like that. Well, I'm just saying like I think what you do should like if there's a guy who catches 150 passes and 20 touchdowns, and we're like, all right, we're gonna let Puka in over him because he gets double teamed the whole game. If he was single covered like you, he'd get 20 touchdowns. Like, do the stats matter or they don't? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, if Puka gets double teamed and for some reason some lesser wide receiver gets more yardage than him, does Puka deserve a spot over him? Because we
That's
know
a
what he
that's
could
a
do.
completely different argument. They're two different
Well,
positions.
I agree that what I'm saying is
That's
like
apples and oranges. You can't compare the two.
what we're saying is you're saying we understand Mitchell's so good. If they threw at him that much that he'd get as many interceptions as right because he's that good. But
I'm not saying he'd get as many interceptions. Those words never came out of my mouth. What I'm saying is that he would have better interception numbers production wise than what he has currently, like any defensive back would, unless you play for the New York Jets.
well, I'm just saying like I understand that, but that's just a theory. You got to go out there and catch interceptions, and I think you should get rewarded.
Well,
Football, the most
interceptions
important thing.
interceptions aren't the end all be all because
I would
defensive
argue turnovers over I think you
pass
prefer the
deflections and
turnovers.
pass defenses. That's your job.
Yeah, I mean, does he have more pass deflections than Nation Wright?
I don't know. I didn't look that up.
But what
But
I'm saying
either
is like
way,
I think turnovers are like the trump. Like that's some of the most important things you can do in football is get a turnover, and it's not easy on defense. And he had a lot of them.
well, when you get the ball thrown your way every fucking time because you allow a passer rating of
That's every DB
95,
on our team. They're
which is
getting the
the
ball thrown
50.
all over them.
What?
I'm saying there's a lot. Well, I'm saying that's all the DBs on our team. They all suck. Get the ball
Well,
thrown
I
all over
know,
them.
but you know
And
what I'm
there's a lot
saying?
of
Like,
bad teams. Why don't all the bad teams corners have a bunch of interceptions then? I don't think that's a fair metric either. Oh, because he's bad. There's a lot of bad corners in the league who don't have 7 interceptions. There's a ton of them. There's probably 50 of them who are bad and don't have 7 interceptions. So I don't think that also is like, oh, that's a super knock against you. Okay, fine, he's
well,
bad. He got a lot of interceptions though.
well, you bring up a good point because Keyshawn Nixon did get put into the Pro Bowl as well because somebody else dropped out. So, that's beyond the point. But since we're talking about players and Keyshawn Nixon, I want to talk about the guy who caught the game-winning touchdown on Keyshawn Nixon in overtime against the Green Bay Packers, and that's DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
Perfect segue. I thank you for that, by the way. So Antoine Randall was recently on a podcast with Jared Payton. He talked about DJ Moore, who, after that game against the Rams, no-showed reporters after that game, as well as the locker room cleanouts the following day. Antoine Randall did kind of acknowledge inconsistency. However, he felt like this year he was running his routes more effectively overall this year than compared to last year and was more of a willing blocker in the run game. At least according to what all kind of signs indicate, at least in this podcast, that Antoine Randall expects DJ Moore to be there next year, and he isn't going anywhere. Now, is that just word salad? Is that just doing a service to the player and not trying to bad talk the individual just in case, or do you firmly believe that DJ Moore stays on this roster and they just reconstruct him?
I would say I don't think it was word salad, but I'm not positively back. I think Antoine Randall Elmet that I just don't think he's privy to those decisions. So I do think he thinks he's going to be back because he has no other reason not to think so as of right now, especially this so early. I'm not so certain if he's going to be back just because of just the a lot. Well, we got a lot going on, and DJ's the one piece that is expendable. I won't say the one piece. There's a couple pieces. I'm sure there's other. Like I say all the time, the salary cap is made up. It's imaginary. People just it's this imaginary thing where 5 years ago they're like the Saints are going to have to sell their team. The cap is so bad they're never going to be able to field, and
Yeah,
they
they were
seem to
like
be doing.
$96
Yeah,
million
or it's like and
over
they
the
field the
cap.
team every year. I mean, obviously they suck, but they pay all their guys. They just have a bad organization. But I'm not certain that DJ's going to be back. I personally would like to see him back. We still got Caleb. I mean, if it's a deal to get us somebody really good, then I'm all for it. If it's to get us Max Crosby, or I know I brought this up earlier, and I think as the season goes on, as things go on, TJ, I think TJ Watt might become available, or somebody like that. Then yeah, I'm all for it. If not, we might as well keep him. He played. There were some inconsistencies and times I thought he was hot dogging it, but he just made so many big plays for us. And I know it sucks on that play to make it seem like he wasn't giving full effort. A lot of people come out to I know Olin Kreutz was on. He said he thought DJ got like a concussion 2 plays earlier when he got tackled on the sideline and his head slammed on the ground. He said, if you'd ever played at Soldier Field, you realize that part's not soft like the field. And he said he thought DJ was concussed, and he said that was also thought that was a good reason why he wouldn't have been there, cleaning out his locker the next day too. He might have just been resting, but who knows? I don't know. And it sucks to the season to come down to a play like that and people making accusations. I know Caleb didn't throw him under the bus, neither did Ben Johnson. Um, but I know he tweeted out, he said something like, I love this group of guys or whatever. I like DJ a lot, and he's been a spark for us. He didn't have as good as a year this year as we would like him to have, but I think if we did lose him, he'd be missed. I don't think you just easily replace him. I know Luther Burden is trending up, but you saw in this league, you need more than one. You need 2, 3, 4, 5 playmakers. And guys get injured. Burden missed 4 games. Coach 11 missed a couple. DJ's been pretty healthy his whole career with us as well. So that's something you can't just scoff at and just think we're going to get somebody in there who's just going to do better than. And after the 1 year DJ has a down year too, you want to move on. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's very tough because a lot of Bears fans say, it's the emotional reaction of that game. And yeah, there were some signs and stuff like that throughout the season, just body language. And, he was, kind of hot dogging it on some routes this year, this, then the other. The thing that concerns me the most, and I don't think we can use there's so many mouths to feed on this offense because, you know what I'm saying? DJ Moore went from like 90 catches last year or 98 catches last year to 60 this year. That's a big drop off. A lot of it does have to do with, Caleb's inaccuracies at times, maybe not looking his way. But the fact of the matter is that when you're a number one wide receiver, you demand the ball. He's not a prima donna like, a lot of those guys are, but still, if you're the number one, if you're the guy, your coach is going to, get you the ball. Your quarterback's going to get you the ball. So having that big of a drop off in terms of catches does concern me a little bit. The drops that we're not used to from DJ kind of, concern me as well. And it wasn't just DJ, it was the entire wide receiver group. That entire wide receiver group and Antoine Randall will have to work on that this offseason. The Bears led the league in yards lost due to drops. It was over 400 yards. It was like 410 yards or something like that the Bears lost in yardage because of drops. And that's got to change. But DJ, like you said, he's a locker room leader for that wide receiver room. He's the vet. He's Mr. Consistency when it comes to being on the field. He doesn't miss games. You know what I'm saying? He may miss a couple plays here and there because, it seems like it seems like he belongs in the hospital after taking a shot, or it looks like he broke his fucking leg or some shit like that. He'll go to the blue tent for 5 minutes and then he's back out there on the football field. You can't teach that.
Yeah.
That's heart, that's willingness to be on there for your be in there for your team, and willing to go to war
And
for your
Rome
team.
hasn't shown us. We don't know if maybe the coaches were keeping him out. We don't know, but what we have shown is he hasn't been as healthy as DJ. He hasn't stayed on the
Yes.
field like DJ has. And there's huge question marks with Rome Odunze. Like there are some with DJ, and whatever. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm willing to chalk it up to just a down year. Maybe it wasn't. Who knows? He is getting older. But he has been the image of consistency as a wide receiver in the NFL, 90 catches, 1,000 yards with, you know what I mean, bad OCs, bad quarterbacks. You know what I mean? He played in his first playoff game with us. So I don't want to just scoff and get rid of him. If we can find something lucrative, we have to. If Poles thinks we have to get the cap right so we can make other moves, then I understand. But if we're running it back with, you know what I mean, Trey Hendrickson on a bargain deal and whoever we draft, then I don't want to lose DJ. If we went out and got Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, TJ Watt, and it cost us DJ Moore, then I'm fine with it. Or somebody was going to give us something of value for DJ, then I would contemplate it. But it's a long season. People get hurt. DJ isn't one of them. So it's like it's good to have a guy like that who's going to go out there and play all season, play hard, make good catches. And I mean, some of the biggest moments of the year were DJ Moore. The biggest play in Chicago Bear history, really. Well, not history of recent history when we beat them on that overtime catch is DJ Moore. Um, so well, I don't want to see him go. And if you guys follow the show, I'm a big homer. All the guys on our team anyway, so I don't want to see anybody go unless they're. You know what I mean? Some of these guys' defense are pretty trash. So but DJ, I think, has shown he was with us when we're down. He's been a great player. And yeah, we saw him kind of pouting and hot dogging it this year. But I know you said he's not a Madonna, but I mean, maybe he was feeling some type of way that even though he had a 90 catch season last year and Rome didn't really do shit, they kind of made Rome the number one. And that's what it seemed like to me at the start of the season, that Rome was the number one. Him and Caleb, they've got a connection to same draft class. They were, you know what I mean? They were buddy even before the draft. And they kind of got this thing, and DJ fell by the wayside. And, you know, this football feelings get involved in. He was moping around and not giving his all. And maybe Ben Johnson, Caleb, everybody, we could fix that.
Well, a little bit of free agency news. Besides the obvious need of, edge, interior defensive lineman, linebacker, safety, there's a whole lot of stuff that has to happen. According to Troy Pauline, who writes for Essentially Sports, apparently he's hearing from insiders that the Bears would be interested in running back Travis Etienne if he becomes available in free agency. Do you see that being a possibility, or do you think that's just stupidity?
I mean, if we're coming off of Swift, then yeah, but seems like I would say they're probably a similar type of player, but I don't see it if we. I don't imagine we're gonna have Swift, Monungai, and Travis Etienne. So that doesn't seem like something.
I don't understand what insiders are thinking. Like they have to think that the Bears are going to come off of DeAndre Swift, but DeAndre Swift's going into the last year of his contract. And they're not going to really owe him anything. Yeah, he's due $7.5 million, but Etienne's going to cost the same, if not more. And while he had a little bit of a better season, it wasn't as
Yeah, he's got
as
to learn
much.
the
It's
offense.
not a huge difference in terms of a better season. And they're kind of the same player. I mean,
Yeah,
Etienne's a little bit better with receiving out of the backfield, but we all see how Caleb plays. He doesn't check down a lot.
yeah,
So
he is
that just
not
doesn't make a
running back.
whole lot of
No,
sense
I
for the
don't. I
Bears.
don't. Yeah, I saw that too. I don't know. Like, I guess if we're losing Swift and we're gonna do Thunder and Lightning, I understand that we need somebody like him, but I don't think we need three running backs, and I don't think we're gonna pay even pay somebody that much money to come in and be a part of a running back trio. And I think it's clear that Monungai is going to be back. I think everybody likes Monungai. Um, and DeAndre Swift, maybe they'll cut him, but I don't see why. He was healthy all year. He ran really well. Um, could he have been better? Sure, everyone could, but I don't. Unless it's going to be a major upgrade, I don't see us moving on from DeAndre Swift for Travis Etienne. Like I said, maybe if some other big name running back becomes available, maybe. But I don't know
Especially with
him.
1 year left on his deal. He's
Yeah,
got 1 year left on his deal, and it's not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? Like the move wouldn't make sense. That would be like a lateral move.
yeah.
Unless unless
You're
you're
having
looking
to sign
ahead.
some guy to a multi-year deal
Yeah,
too.
unless you're looking ahead and you're like, oh, well, next year there, you know what I'm saying, there isn't anybody available, blah 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 blah. I don't know. I
I'm
don't
not
think
a
it makes
fan of
any
signing
sense.
running backs unless it's Saquon as Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, like somebody who's going to the Hall of Fame.
A game
Because
changer.
because
Somebody
it's
like
just
Bijan or Jameer Gibbs
it's because we
or
saw like fucking we got Mononga in the seventh, and he was one of the better running backs in the league, top 30, I'd say. And why couldn't we go do it again? There's always a plethora of very quality running backs in the draft that you can go out and get.
Well, I think if you take a look at if you got a good running game, you can make anybody look like a
Yeah,
star. I mean, Mike McDaniel had Raheem Mostert with 20 touchdowns in one season, and then like the next year he was out of the league. When you have a good run game, a good run scheme, you can make anybody a star. Um, Daniel Jeremiah released his first mock draft recently, and he has the Bears selecting Oregon safety Dylan Tyneman, analyzing that his versatility and coverage ability make him a natural fit for a Bears secondary likely to undergo major turnover at safety in 2026 offseason. With that being said, the Bears have the 25th overall pick in the first round. If they don't trade the pick, if they keep the pick and they do draft, is that a good draft pick for you selecting the safety from Oregon?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I guess it depends on what they do. Obviously, if they're doing that, then Brisker gone or Byard or both.
I think
Um,
Brisker's gone anyway.
I think so too. I like Brisker. He had a nice game. He was one of our guys, and no hard feelings against him. I don't know how much money he wants. So, and if it's anything
Too
substantial,
much.
I don't think that we're in a position to be overpaying for somebody who routinely misses half the season. Um, and I harp on it all the time. To me, availability is like top three. Like after how good you are, that's what I like to see the most. Like, and he's just been extremely inconsistent. Just a multitude of injuries too, not just one concussions, other stuff. It's like he's just always getting hurt. And I feel the same way about Kyler Gordon, but lucky for him, we already locked him in.
Yeah.
But if he needed to be re-signed this year, I'd be like, get him the fuck out of here because I'm tired of him sitting on the bench. And not like I said, I like these guys. I believe them to be quality picks. The polls can't. I mean, they didn't have injury problems in college. It's not his fault. He doesn't know that these guys are going to come to the NFL and be made of glass. Or again, and I talk shit about them. Maybe they are real and it just happened and the flip of the coin, bad luck, whatever. But yeah, I'm fine with a pick at safety because I do think we're going to be replacing Brisker. Um, and we're kind of thin there because even with if we who knows if CJ comes back, even then Jonathan Owens, I think he'll be gone, but he was kind of ass. He's more like a special teams player. If,
Elijah Hicks is also
and
they
we
have
just
no they're gonna
yes,
have
we
no
need to
safeties
start
on the
building
roster.
our farm system where we got guys who can come in who can play who are backup. I think we kind of had that on offense this year. This draft, we went out and got a bunch of people, and we filled out the offense and the defense we saw when Braxton Jones didn't work out. They went to Theo Benedict, and he's okay. But then they settled in on Ozzie. But we still got guys who can come in and fill spots now on offense. And I do think we need to work on that on defense now because like linebackers go out, we're done. We lose a corner where it's over with. But we're getting Todd Frazier back, Shamar Turner. That'll be, you know what I mean, that's basically two extra draft picks. You want to think of it that way, two young guys who um, still have some potential. Maybe we don't know. They haven't been on the field. They could be good. Um, but yeah, I'd be fine with it. A lot of the mocks I've been seeing is the DT from Ohio State. I know it's early, but as you guys know, we are degenerates. So the mock drafts start real early. But I would personally like to see them get somebody on the defensive line, whether it's tackle. This is a good edge rushing draft. I think we just have to. We need to start filling that room. I like Booker. Sweat's okay, but if we can't get Max Crosby, one of these guys, we just gotta start drafting these guys and kind of like scratch offs or lottery tickets until one of them's a star. But we got to focus more on getting them. We tried with Dexter. It wasn't him. Maybe Turner will be next year, but I think we need to get two or three guys on the defensive line in like the first five picks.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the left tackle position a little bit because it's going to be one of my factor cap questions to end this show. But the one thing I did want to ask you is that are there any left tackle options for the Bears in free agency, trade, the draft? That's going to help the Bears while Trapillo recovers from that patella tendon injury because from what Ryan Poles, seemed to indicate is that he's gonna miss most of 2026. And anybody who knows anything about those injuries knows that players don't normally come back. That's a very career-threatening injury.
No, I wouldn't want him either.
If they do make it back on the field, It's like a 25% chance that that player returns to the pre-injury, production. Is there any options out there? Maybe they bring Theo back for cheap. Joseph Noteboom is going to be a free agent. Kelvin Beachum, DJ Humphries, Cam Robinson. Do any of those names do anything
I
for
mean,
you?
not as somebody we're going to lock in. I'm hoping that I'm assuming we're going to sign one of those guys, maybe bring Theo back, sign one of those good journeymen to hold it down for a year. Joe already showed he can move out there. Maybe we'll find a guard and he'll just play left tackle. I don't really want to see that just because I felt like I know it's a one game sample size, but the run game didn't feel as good without Joe in
Well,
the
you
middle.
also don't want to take a five-time All-Pro, who's probably the best in that position in the entire league, and move him out to left tackle at 34 years old,
Yeah.
35 years old, whatever. That's
Um,
just that's not optimizing your offensive line.
yeah.
Like,
So I'm guessing we bring Theo back and then get somebody else just in case Theo can't hack it. But he was okay. He was good in the run game. He was getting his ass kicked out of left tackle on the outside the speed rushers, but that's something you could be taught. So maybe he'll come back. He'll be a little bit better next year. Who knows? We'll have to see how it unfolds. People are still going to get cut too. Um, maybe there'll be somebody to trade for. Who knows?
um, Ryan Poles did come out and say that he wasted no time in saying that he does want Kevin Byard back. Kevin Byard brought a lot of leadership to this defense, especially, signing that 2-year deal last year, going through the Eberflus era, and the disaster that was last year, and then, leading the team and the defense to victories this year, completely different locker room, different culture. Ryan Poles stated that he loves Kevin Byard. He wants him back. And I think a deal definitely gets done.
I think so too.
That's my first factor cap question. If you're ready for it, factor
All right.
cap. All right, factor cap. I already said it. Kevin Byard will be re-signed by the Chicago
Like I
Bears.
said, and I've said before, I definitely fact. I think Poles wants him back. I think he wants to be back. I don't think he's going to gouge us. He did in the last time. He can't really. I mean, I guess he could, but I don't imagine he'll ask for more than he got last time. Maybe slightly more, which I think would be well worth it. Like you said, a lot of leadership. And I'm guessing more than likely we're going to lose either one or both TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds. So we want to keep some of that leadership and bring back some of that energy from last year.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's almost a done deal. I think we'll hear within the next couple of weeks, fairly quickly. I think Kevin Byard will probably be the first re-signing of the off season, in terms of extension. And like you said, I'm expecting a 2-year, maybe, because he got paid 7.5 million. It was a two-year, $15 million deal. I think he gets a little bit of a pay bump, especially with the All Pro. Designation this year. I think it's like 2 for 18, 2 for 17, somewhere around there. I think he does another 2-year deal. It's a done deal. That's it. That's all. Kevin Byard comes back. Jaquan Brisker's gone. Made a good point about Tremaine Edmonds being a cut candidate. TJ Edwards is going to be a trade candidate if they can trade him. I think both of those guys are gone. They need to get faster at that linebacker position, and I just don't see them paying $17.5 million to Tremaine Edmonds and $8.5 million to TJ Edwards coming off a pretty gruesome leg
Injury
injury
riddled
there.
and they both when they weren't playing that good.
Absolutely. Factor cap question number 2. We talked about it a little bit just now. The Bears' biggest need in the offseason is actually getting a left tackle and not defensive line.
I'll say Cap just because I know we did just talk about it. You say you don't want to move him out there, but like I said, if all else fails, we could. And he's a team player too, so I think that's our def con with that. We cannot if we don't have somebody on the D line that's going to get some immediate pressure. I just think it's really going to throw a monkey wrench in our season because I don't think we're. I'm positive we're not going to be able to recreate that same magic where we get 7, 8 comeback victories in a row and get thoroughly outplayed for 3 quarters just to come back in the fourth quarter. That's not going to work again.
I slightly disagree. I think you have to shore up the left tackle position at least for next year going into this offseason because as you mentioned earlier, you have guys like Shamar Turner coming back, Dio Adingbo coming back. Za Frazier, Terrell Smith. You got those guys coming back. And while they may not necessarily be the end all be all superstar players like a Trey Hendrickson, Joey Bosa, Max Crosby, this, that, and the other, you do have an opportunity to potentially sign a older Khalil Mack, bring him back for a year, to bring him down, back on third downs, this, that, and the other. But you talked and preached all year long about chemistry and everything else like that on an offensive line. You cannot move Joe Thuney from left guard to left tackle and have him play that way all season long. The offensive line worked because you had the combination of Thuney, Dahlman, Jackson, the
I
interior
agree.
of your offensive line. So left tackle has to be a huge need. If it's not 1A, it needs to be 1B. Just so you can keep that offensive line unit, those three guys, Tooney, Dolman, and Jackson, in their positions. Which is why I said I slightly disagree. It's
Yeah.
not a major disagree, but I do feel like it is a fact. They do need to actually address left tackle more so than the defensive line, because defensive line in free agency, or I'm sorry, in the draft, is a lot deeper than the tackle position. You could
I guess
probably get
too,
a
if I didn't
guy,
think about it that sense.
um, which number three, factor cap, you would rather sign Khalil Mack than Joey Bosa or Trey Hendrickson in free agency.
Uh, yes, I would say fact. I just think he's really good in the run game too. And Khalil Mack is what I like. It's just a disruptor. He gets a lot of fun. I think he led the league in forced fumbles. Um, he gets at the ball and gets it, and he had good energy here. That's the type of thing I think we can build on. Bring somebody back who has a connection with the team, who give us a little spark. And he doesn't have to play every down. He can play half the time. He's older. I know he doesn't got everything, but I think he's got a really good motor, and I think he sets an example too when he's out there playing hard. I think that's infectious.
Yeah, I like the idea of Khalil Mack coming back. Just for a couple of different reasons, right? He had that one major injury, but for the most part, he's been relatively healthy his career. Trey Hendrickson had core muscle surgery, the same kind of surgery that Jalen Johnson had. You saw how Jalen Johnson is recovering, and Jalen Johnson's 27 years old. Trey Hendrickson is going to be 32. Joey Bosa's got a long injury history as well. And like you said, he doesn't have to be on the field the entire time, and it's going to come at a cheaper, price tag. I think the projected contract for Trey Hendrickson was 3 years, $72 million.
Mm.
You're not gonna have that with Khalil Mack. Khalil
Oh, I
Mack,
don't
you're
want
probably
that.
gonna get two for 30. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna pay him, 14, $15 million a year just to come in and rush on third downs. That's pretty good. You're gonna get a good production value for that. And I personally would like to see that more than
Yeah,
them
oh my
making a
god.
a huge splash with Trey Hendrickson or Joey Bosa. So, factor cap question number four. Drake May is in the Super Bowl. There's a lot of talk about, redrafting and all this other stuff. They did it last year um what's his name from Washington? I forgot his fucking name
McDaniels.
already. Yeah.
Daniels, not
When
McDaniels.
Jaden Daniels, took his team to the NFC Championship game. So I asked you, factor cap, if you were redrafting today, you would still take Caleb 1-1 over Drake May.
I'd say yeah. I mean, we just saw Drake May. He looked pretty pedestrian against them. I know they had a pretty light schedule. Drake May's really good. I know you sing his praise a lot. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think Caleb's got the it factor. I think he's a superstar. Not to say that Drake May won't be. I just feel that energy from Caleb, and he's already made so many plays that, I mean, if he never played again, are going to go down in history. Um, and again, I'm a homer, so I definitely don't like Jaden Daniels. He gets hurt a lot, and I'm not a fan of that. Even though he could play too, but he's already missed fucking 10 games already
A
in 2 years.
a lot of
Um,
games.
Caleb seems to be very healthy, and he's growing. He's getting better. And Drake May was close. He could taste that MVP this year. Matt Stafford, I'm thinking, is going to beat him out, but I think Caleb's got one in his future. So probably before Drake May.
I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do. I would have taken Drake May 1-1 during that
You
draft
said that
because you know
before,
me. I
so
was I was
yeah.
a I was a big guy. but I think Caleb's convinced me otherwise.
Yeah.
I think that if I'm Ryan Poles, knowing what I know, still seeing it, I still think if I'm Ryan Poles in that position, I take Caleb Williams. I loved Drake May coming out of college. I did. It's no secret. Anybody who's watched this podcast knows that I'm still a big Drake May fan. I think the future is very bright for Drake May and the New England Patriots. But like you said, Caleb Williams just has that it fed. There's something special about that kid. He's got to shore up some things. Obviously, he's got to get better. He's not perfect. Um, but God damn, is it exciting to watch him play football. It's frustrating at times. You sit there and like, fuck, man, like how do you miss that, easy ass throw? But then later on in the game, when the game's on the line, you're sitting there like, how the fuck did he make that throw? The roller coaster of emotions, man, it takes you on a ride. And he's a special player. And I don't think Drake May has that. He may develop that later, but he doesn't have that right now. And that's why Caleb was the first overall pick to begin with. And that's why a lot of people labeled him as generational because he is able to make those off schedule throws. Drake May has an incredible arm talent. He's
Very
very
accurate.
incredibly, football IQ is very high. He's very efficient at running an offense, but can he make those special plays? I don't know because I haven't seen him yet, but I've seen 10 of them from Caleb Williams just in the last 6 weeks alone.
Yeah.
So for that reason, yes, I will say fact. I am still taking Caleb
Who
1-1
knows
over
if
Drake
Drake
May.
May survives Matty Eberflus? Like
That
it
is
could
true as
be
well.
Sam Darnold. Like I
That
think
is
it. I think
that
it
is
took him.
very true.
I think it. I thought even myself included, and if we
Well,
ever,
he
if
survived Gerard Mayo.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think that was like. I just think they had a
They're
terrible
they're
roster.
similar. They both lost a ton of games their rookie
Well, I
year.
would
They,
agree they lost a ton of the games. What I'm saying is like the Pats had nothing. That's why they lost so many games. The Bears had a decent team, and Eberflus like fucking choked the season away. Like Drake May, the Bears had Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. Like, I mean, our offensive line was mid, but we had a solid team, like a team that was almost 500 the year before. And Drake May was on the second worst. You know what I mean? He took over the second worst team. Came to the second worst team in the league. I just think I don't know. Like I said, if we ever blow, I'm hoping. Well, I won't say if we ever win, we finally blow up and people are going back and seeing all the horrible takes we had. I didn't think Caleb would be resilient enough, and he clearly has been. It has been a roller coaster. That first year, people were doubting him even early in this season, even throughout the season with his completion percentage. And like you said, when the game is on the line, when we need him most, he can summon upon his powers, his accuracy when he needs it the most. And it is infuriating on first down or in the first quarter, in the second quarter when it can't. But as we saw, and I guess I was wrong about that, where I said with Justin Fields, where it's like, would you rather have a guy who was decent the first three quarters and folded in the fourth, or the opposite? And I always thought like I'll take the front runner because you put it on your defense, but it's like now it's like we feel like we're in every game, and I know it's a little Ben Johnson, but it's a lot of Caleb too, where it's like, are we out of any game? We got to be down by 25. Like we got to be for real, like down by a lot to think we're not coming back and win this game, or you know what I mean, 4th and 8. Caleb scrambling back 20 yards, and we're still like, oh shit! Like now we got to think like he might complete this pass, like, and that is just special. And who knows? But and again, not to shit on Drake May, like I said, he almost won MVP. He would have been a second year player, won MVP. He's in the fucking Super Bowl. Did he get you know what I mean? Injuries helped him get there, sure, but that's how it goes. I was saying that before. That's why you want to get in the dance. You don't want to be complacent and say, "Oh well, I'm a rookie coach." Like, you know what I mean? Second round, good enough. And it's like somebody gets hurt, bam, you're in the fucking Super Bowl. So, and we were one play away. You know, one bad interception. You know what I mean? That take an interception back, and we run the ball 3 times. Who knows? We kick a field goal, win the game. Like, and we went. I mean, we were clearly on par with the Rams, so we could have went blow for blow with the Seahawks. And if something went our way, we won the fucking game. So, but kudos to Drake May. But I would rather have Caleb. I think Caleb is, especially for Chicago. I think he's going to be a guy. I think this kid's going to make a bajillion dollars. I think he's going to set records with contracts. He's going to be an icon. You saw, we didn't talk about it, but the day after the game, the 3 days after the game, he was at the Bulls game, or yeah, we went to the Bulls game, the Hawks game right after.
Yep.
went out and it was all smiles. The city loved to see him out there, and that's the type of thing like we needed from him.
Well, that's all I have for this episode.
Oh yes, like, follow, subscribe. I don't think I said at the beginning, but you guys are helping us out a lot. We're back monetized, so anything helps. You know, make sure you don't sleep, you leave the video roll or whatever you got to do. But again, like, follow, subscribe. And we'll see you guys next week. And we didn't talk about this, but we got a lot. We're going to do a lot of stuff this off season, a lot of series of things. Keep you guys engaged until we get back to 2026, 2077 season. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.